You know, when a project goes belly up and all the money disappears, it hurts. It always hurts. But here's the thing. Why it collapsed? That changes everything. So today, we're going to dig into that super fine line between a straight-up scam and a project that just failed.
And that's the big question, right? The one that keeps everyone up at night when a project crashes. Was this whole thing a planned heist from day one? Or was it a genuine attempt that just, hit a wall? Figuring that out is absolutely key.
And let's be clear, this isn't just some thought experiment. We're talking about what's really a billion-dollar question for anyone in this space. It changes how you think about lawsuits, how you judge your next move. It really shapes the entire game.
Because here's the crazy part. At the end of the day, the result looks exactly the same, right? Your money's gone. But there's one thing that draws a hard line in the sand. Intent. Was it malice or was it just misfortune? That's the difference between a crime scene and, well, a tragic business story.
All right, so if we're going to get to the bottom of this, we need to be on the same page. Let's get some clear definitions down. What is an exit scam and what's a legitimate failure? This is going to be the foundation for everything else we talk about. Okay, first up, the exit scam. You've probably heard it called a rug pull. This is no accident, folks. It's a total ambush. The founders, they go in knowing they're not going to build anything. The whole project is just a fancy trap to suck in money before they disappear into thin air.
But then you've got the other side of the coin, a legitimate failure. This is when a team with real, honest intentions just slams into a brick wall. Maybe their leadership was weak, maybe their economic model was flawed from the start, or maybe the market just completely tanked. The key difference here? They weren't trying to steal from you. They just failed.
So yeah, it really boils down to this. Malice versus misfortune. A planned-out theft versus a project that just couldn't make it. And what's really interesting is that these two different starting points, they lead to totally different behaviors. And we can actually see those patterns if we know what to look for. And this chart just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the huge differences. For an exit scam, the intent was always to deceive. Communication? Poof, they go silent, delete everything. The money, it gets secretly drained to private wallets. Now compare that to a real failure. The intent was honest, the team is usually still there trying to explain what went wrong, and the money, well, it was spent trying to build the thing, or it got wiped out by the market. It wasn't just pocketed.
All right, definitions are sorted. Now for the practical stuff. How do we spot these things before our money is gone? Let's get into the red flag playbook. These are the signs you got to watch out for.
First up, and this is a classic, guaranteed returns. Anytime you see a project promising you risk-free anything or guaranteed 100x gains, run. They're playing with your emotions. Real investing, it always has risk, period.
Next big one, an anonymous team. Look, I get it. Not every anon founder is out to get you. But let's be real, it makes it so much easier for them to ghost you. When there are no real names, no real faces, no history you can check, disappearing becomes way too easy.
And number 3, this one's huge. No audits. If a team says their code is rock solid but they can't show you a report from a real, respected audit firm, you've got to ask yourself, why not? That's where they hide the nasty stuff, like code that literally stops you from selling your tokens.
Now, the thing is, one red flag might just be a mistake, but you're looking for a pattern, a whole collection of them. So you start asking questions. Is the treasury a black box? Did the team suddenly go quiet on social media? Are there weird transactions happening on-chain? When you start seeing a bunch of these things together, that's when the alarm bells should be screaming.
So what does it look like when all these red flags are just ignored? Well, let's look at some real-world examples. Sometimes the best way to learn is to sift through the wreckage of past disasters. This quote, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? That's the voice of someone who invested in the Squid Game Token. That project is now like the poster child for a textbook rug pull.
Just look at how this played out. It's almost like a masterclass in how to steal money. They rode the hype of that TV show to get everyone buying in, but the real trap was buried in the code. A nasty little feature that made it impossible to sell. And then, once the pot was full, boom, they pulled all the money out and vanished. That wasn't a project that failed. That was a straight-up heist.
But hey, not every massive collapse is a simple theft. Let's think about Terra/Luna for a second. That thing wiped out billions. And while people are still digging through it, the main story seems to be a catastrophic design flaw. The whole economic engine was just broken. It couldn't handle the pressure. So that wasn't your classic rug pull where the founders just take the money and run. It was more like a giant house of cards that just came crashing down. A totally different kind of risk, but just as devastating.
Okay, so with all this in mind, what can you actually do about it? How do you keep yourself safe? Look, this isn't about being paranoid. It's about being smart and prepared. Let's talk about building your own personal investor's shield.
This checklist right here, this should be your new best friend. Before a single dollar leaves your wallet, you got to go through these steps. Who are the founders? Are they real people? Have you actually read the white paper? Are the audits legit? And this is a big one. Is the liquidity locked? You have to demand to see how the treasury is being managed. Seriously, these aren't just nice-to-haves. In today's world, this is survival 101.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to you. Your best defense isn't going to be luck. It's going to be what you know and how disciplined you are. This whole space, it's a digital battlefield. And everything we've talked about today, those are the tools you need to navigate it safely. So the only question left is your capital protected?